Hi all. In this video we will be talking about the 5 myths about the driving test in Sweden. So let's get started. Myth number 1. It's a tough exam. I don't think it's a tough exam as long as you know the expectation, like what is the examiner expecting from you, and then you have the right knowledge, right preparation and right execution. So for example, I cleared in my first attempt and without any prior driving experience from my home country. So if I can do it, you can also do it. Myth number 2. Beginners cannot clear it in first attempt. This is a totally false thing. I am a beginner without any previous driving experience. I learned entirely from scratch here, and then I cleared my exam in my very first attempt. Myth number 3. You cannot practice without a car. So this is totally false. You can practice while you are at home. So you cannot make excuses. In the driving, 90% of the driving is done by your eyes. So you can train your eyes for the driving exam. For example, when you are taking an SL bus, then you can sit at the front seat just beside the driver and observe the driver as well as the roads. Observe the road signs, observe how the bus is taking a roundabout, how they are taking a left turn in a roundabout, for example, and how do they check the mirrors and so on. And also whenever you are taking a cab or something to one place to another, then instead of sitting at the back seat, try to sit at the front seat and try to observe the road signs, observe how the driver is driving, and observe the how they are checking the blind spots and so on. And then also there is one more thing you can do. So when you are taking class from a driving instructor or a private instructor or anywhere, then whenever your class is over, you can ask the instructor to allow you to sit in the back seat while he is taking more classes. So that way you get to spend more time on the road to check the road signs, and you can also learn from the mistakes of others. So if there is someone who is driving and then driving instructor is sitting beside them, you can sit in the back seat and observe both of them. Observe how the driving instructor is giving the instructions and what are the mistakes the other person is making, and try to learn from the mistakes. So this is something you can definitely try. And also there are some things which you can practice at home. For example, I had this issue while I was driving. So whenever I was trying to check the blind spot, whenever I make a over the shoulder turn, then my steering was also like bending a bit on the side which I am turning. So one idea is not to make these two movements independent, the movement of your neck and the movement of your steering. You can do a technique at home. I call this the plate technique. So just hold on to a plate or something round in shape, and then just hold it on and then do the over the shoulder check, and try not to move this plate. Try to keep this steady and try to practice this movement. And trust me guys, once you have this muscle memory built up, then when you do the real driving, then you won't feel this issue. So this is something that helped me to solve this problem. And then there is something you can definitely try. I call this the leg training. So we use only one leg for the accelerator and the brake. So sometimes for beginners what happens is either they brake too hard or they accelerate too hard. So this can happen only when you are trying to put your whole weight of the leg on the brake or the accelerator. So an easy technique could be, like, you can, if this is your leg, then the base of your leg you can fix this and put it as a compass, and then try to move your leg from the brake and the accelerator, brake, accelerator. So this way your weight of the leg falls on this base, and then you can just properly do this at home. So at home, whenever you're sitting on a chair, just put the base of your leg on the floor and then try to practice like brake, accelerator, repeat, and then do this practice. Trust me guys, this will help you to build up your muscle memory, and while you are driving for real, then you won't face this issue. And also one more thing regarding the mirror routine, so that you can do at home. For example, whenever you have to turn right or turn left, you can say mirror, mirror, blind spot, and try to check them at home. So although there is no mirror, but you can pretend as if you are in a car, and then you can say mirror. The first mirror goes to the rear view mirror, and then the side mirror and the blind spot. So you can just keep repeating and then move your head accordingly. So say mirror, mirror, blind spot, and then mirror, mirror, blind spot. So this you can practice at home. It may sound funny, but it works. So once you have this muscle memory training and muscle memory is built up, you can definitely do that in your car. And we'll talk about the third myth. The third myth is it's very, very expensive and it takes a lot of money. You need to do a lot of classes and so on. So I would say this is a myth. It entirely depends upon how you plan and how you practice. So I already covered about some trainings that you can do at home and how to train your eyes. So with this I would say 60% of your training is done. So it's the 40% that you need to plan your classes and then and so on. The most important thing is you have to you should reserve at least 2 to 3 classes for mock exam. So before giving the real exam, you need to give a mock test at least 2 to 3 times, and you can do that from a driving school. You can ask them this class I want to take it as an exam mode. So the driving instructor can pretend as a real examiner, and then he can ask you to drive like a real exam, and then he can assess your performance, and he can tell you about your faults and what you can do better. So this is something very important. So at least 2 to 3 classes, take them as a mock exam. We will talk about the last myth. I have read across some Facebook posts and all. They say that the examiner's mood was bad, and then that's why I got failed in the exam. So this is a total myth. The reason is because even if the examiner fails you during the exam, he or she has to give a proper explanation of why you were failed, and then so in their summary they will mention about what went good and what went bad, and why you failed. So it entirely depends upon your driving and how well you handled your pressure and how you cleared the exam. So you can always question the question the examiner as to why you were failed and what could have been better. But I would say if you make a good first impression, then it's always helpful. So in the beginning, first 15 minutes of your exam are the most crucial ones. If you manage to make a good impression in the first 15 minutes, then more or less, even if you make some faults or some mistakes, most likely you will be ignored. Your mistakes might be ignored, and then you may pass. But this is just an assumption, but this might not be the reality. So it's always good not to rely on these kind of things, and try to first of all, in the first 15 minutes, try to focus on being calm, and then trying to drive properly and not make any mistakes. And even if you make any mistakes, try to get out of them. Don't keep them at the back of your head, and try to do the remaining part of the exam as calmly as possible.